This is Kugan Cassius for IFLTV. We are at the Ben Davison Performance Centre. I was just talking to TKV actually about this, and I said to him how big your ego's got to be to name the gym after yourself. But he said he'd do the same thing. And I said, well, you're a fighter, but I actually like the name Ben Davison Performance Centre, to be fair. So, and I know you haven't really got an ego, so
I really tried not to call it that, but it didn't work out, did it? But so yeah, here we are.
right. Let's run through some things with your fighters at the moment. Obviously, we just spoke to Jamie TKV there. Obviously, very kind of upset with the situation regarding David Adlay, who's now fighting Filip Hrgovic on the Saudi card. But yeah, disappointing that rematch is not going to happen next for him.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. Like, you know, Barry and Jamie, they feel very hard done by, which from in that fight, which I totally do agree with, and I don't think the board dealt with it the right way, if I'm honest. But I also understand that, you know, it's a tough job for the board, and you're not always gonna agree, but they do what they feel's best. They're not doing it in spite of anybody. And in terms of David's choice, now I totally get it. You know, a lucrative, bigger fight has come about. I would advise someone to do the same thing. You know, bigger opportunity, more lucrative. Fair play to him, and you know, hopefully he goes on and gets a win, and Jamie gets a win, and maybe they'll do it again down the line or something. But yeah, no, you know, Jamie will still, from my understanding, Jamie will still box for the British title next.
Yeah, I was going to come on to that. Obviously, there was a lot of talk over the weekend, especially regarding Dave Allen fighting Jamie for that British title. Talks have they been had regarding that fight with Dave Allen?
I spoke to Eddie, and he spoke to Jamie's management, and like I say, Barry looks after Jamie, so Barry will be in conversation with the management team. I don't know the latest on that, but I know that there was talks of that, and again, like I just said, Jamie's next fight will be for the British title. So if Dave Allen's next fight is for the British title, it'll be against Jamie. If not, you know, I suppose there's Fraser Clark in the mix, and maybe a few others. So yeah, the heavyweight scene has been and is on fire at the minute. So really good position for Jamie to be in.
Had a very interesting chat with Alois Jr. today. Very interesting. This situation, though, just from your perspective, with Vidal Rowley, spoke to Vidal in Saudi, was very specific that he wanted to fight on a potential Tottenham card on the rematch of Ben and Eubank, whether that's late September or early October. So that was his reasons for wanting to fight specifically on that card. Obviously, Alois's version of that and that situation's a little bit different. How likely is this fight to happen, though, in your opinion?
I don't know. I don't know. Look, Vidal's a fighter. He's you know, he's not scared to fight anybody. And Alois is a young, hungry lion. Vidal's got a good management team behind him, 258, good people, know their stuff, you know, and if that's the fight that makes sense, if something else comes about that's better for him, I'm sure they'll do what's best for Vidal, and obviously for us, we're doing the best for Alois. Alois is, like I say, is a young, hungry lion, and sees an opportunity for him to grab a British title, which I'm sure is something that he's dreamt about for a very long time. And he's, like I say, he's very hungry for it. So, you know, he's basically fight or move out the way is Alois's point of view, which I understand. I don't think he's asked on it being on this show, that show, you know. But I also understand that there's politics, it's a business, you know. I don't know how it's going to work, if, you know, whose card that is and how that will look, and if that can be made on that card, I don't know. All I know is Alloys is interested in big fights, opportunities that are going to step him up the ladder, and that's that. But Vidal's a solid fighter, solid team. I don't think there's a situation where, like I say, he went on TalkSport and that talking about the fight. I don't think. I just totally understand that. From Alloy for Alloys, like I say, it's an opportunity, and he wants to have that fight and win that title. So whoever it is in the way is who he's going to be chasing.
It's been just over a couple of weeks since Ipswich. Quite a dramatic night in Ipswich.
Yeah.
Rain-soaked Ipswich. But just we spoke to you after the fight, obviously, but then a couple of days later, there was complaints from Hooney's team regarding the count, etc. Have you heard any more from that? I did ask Frank Warren about this recently, but have you heard anything more on that?
No, I've not heard anything on that, and there's nothing that can be. The fighter didn't complain at the time, which I get it. He's in a fight, just been hit with a big shot, etc. You don't expect him to. But yeah, it's one of them things. It's a 10 count. It's not a 10 seconds. It's not a this. It's not a that. You need to be up. Your job is to be up and show the referee that you're ready and willing and wanting to carry on. The referee didn't feel that was the case, and the fight was over there. It's one of them things that, like I say, there was no complaints from Justice Hooney. He was a top fighter, and I'm sure he'll come again.
Justice Hooney wasn't making any complaints after the fight, so I think this is coming obviously from the people that obviously look after him. But
and I get that they're doing their job, but if there was something that really stood out, like if something was really off, then I think a complaint, you would have noticed that right away. There would have been some complaining right away.
What do you think about this tagline for Fabio of the British Deontay Wilder?
Yeah, I said that after the fight. Just there's an element of that in him, is what I meant. Like, he went into that fight very aware that we wasn't expecting him, and he wasn't going to bank rounds against Justice Hooney. In the first three, I actually thought he was doing a better job of. He might have won 2 of those rounds, the first 3, and he was doing a better job of that than I actually anticipated, to be honest. So we knew that approach for that fight was going to be, you're going to have to knock him out type job. However, with that said, he banked rounds against Fraser Clark, which ended up with a draw, but he was banking rounds against an Olympic silver medalist, and was banking the rounds against David Adlay as well. So, and although he does get these stoppages, it's not a case of he can't bank rounds, he's got to knock everybody out. It was just that specific fight with a style match-up. That was how he felt. We didn't think he was going to bank rounds against Justice Hooney.
When do you anticipate him being out next?
I suppose probably before the end of the year, I imagine.
What, just once more before the end of the year?
I don't know. Like I say, he's got a management team. I think, and again, I think that from my understanding, don't quote me on this because I don't know if it's correct. My understanding is there's going to be a fight made between, I think, Hunter and Pulev for the regular title. Then Fabio will fight the winner of that. Whether that fight takes place, when that fight takes place, or whether a bigger and better opportunity comes up for Fabio, I don't know. We'll see.
Cameron Vong has joined your gym.
Yep.
Interesting acquisition. Can you tell us how that all come about?
Yeah, just, the team reached out and had a conversation. He come down, and I feel like he's got the right blend of. He's got enough confidence where he can go out there and execute what you need him to execute. But there's enough of that inner thought process that makes him do that bit extra. When you show him something, he'll do extra rounds to practice it. He'll spend extra hours. That extra bit of time, that extra work, that's what makes a difference. And that being honest, if I was thinking about this the other week, people say to me, what do you look for when you're taking on a fight? And that, it's probably that. the right amount of confidence, but coachability, yes. Do you know what it is? It's a tinge of doubt, just a touch of, have I done enough? Am I doing enough? Do I need to do a bit more? It's the correct blend of that makes me. If you've got that, I feel like we can make you overachieve. That's how I feel, and that's probably one of the main things I look for. If you've got that, you know, and you're a good lad and you're a pleasure to work with, that makes every day a lot easier and enjoyable.
I get that. Lee Woods in the gym. Update?
Can't get rid of him, can we? Nah, yeah, he's a big name. He wants to go again. Someone who looks after himself. Somebody who's got that we spoke about there. And Lee's a perfect example of somebody that he's never done the whole camp thing, or in camp, out of camp. He lives a very, do you know when you say about being life in moderation? That is Lee Wood. Even when he's in camp, if he wants to have a dessert, he's in a position to be able to have a dessert because he throughout lives with moderation. So he's healthy, you know, got a body nearly as good as mine, and yeah, he's still ready and raring to go.
Interesting fight actually on that Saudi card with Kakachi and Ray Ford, isn't it?
Yeah, really good fight. It's a really good fight. Ray Ford stepping up from featherweight, Kakachi very big super featherweight, pretty much like a lightweight really. So yeah, that's a really good fight.
Which comes on to that card in Saudi on August the 16th. Obviously, knew about these kind of the talks were going on. I think last time we spoke, etc. But yeah, but I mean, it's a bold move from you guys for Dillian-Whyte, and also an interesting situation for Dillian-Whyte where he is in his career to be taking somebody who's regarded as kind of what Moses is at this stage. So,
what is he?
Well, it's probably regarded of his age the best heavyweight that there is of that anyone coming through at that stage. But a lot of questions still to be answered.
Yeah, but I think there's always that throughout, you know. But what he is number one with the WBO, so he's got something to offer now and he's bringing something to the table. And I'm sure Dillian will look at that and think, right, you know, there's an opportunity for me. Dillian will feel like he's catching him at the right time. I'm sure Moses will feel like that about Dillian. And we'll find out who's right. But again, you know, these are two. Dillian is part of the best, and a key part of the best era of British heavyweight boxing, in my opinion, that there's been. And brings a hell of a lot to the table. Got character about him. You know, some of the comments that I see people making about, you know, a 1 round job, a 2 round job, as if Dillian's going to come and lay down. Like, I just think, what planet are you on? So, yeah, big step up, but one that we're confident that Moses is ready for, and an opportunity for both guys, which I'm sure that's how they see it.
It is interesting. It means, or does it mean, that this is a big jump, obviously, from whatever Moses' best win in his career so far is to Dillian-Whyte. But does that mean that it's like upwards from there, or how does that work when you fight someone like Dillian-Whyte in your whatever fight, that number of fights?
I think, again, I've said this time and time again, you take it fight by fight. What experience does he gain? That's what you need to look at after the fight. What did he learn from the fight? What did he gain from the fight? What experience did he get from the fight? And, you know, there's no secret to be had that we've been looking for rounds, for him to gain that experience of rounds, which is getting in the gym. But of course you want to get it on the night as well. But if you're boxing the level of guys like this and those rounds aren't coming, you're ready. You're ready. It's as simple as that. And that's how we feel, to be honest. We feel like he's ready. And we still feel like there's so much more that he can gain. And, you know, he's not the finished article in a sense of how good he can be. But that's the scary thing. He's not the finished article of how good we think he can be. But we also feel like he is ready to be the world's best. And that's the journey that we're on.
20 years old. Just moving on finally to Anthony Joshua. Just per my conversation with Eddie Hearn the other day, a couple of situations I asked him about that. He kind of ruled out any talk of Jared Anderson. He was being linked with a fight with AJ, and then Eddie Hearn said no. I also asked him whether are you waiting for that Dubois-Usyk winner, and he said no. So, as per AJ's next fight, am I right in thinking those situations we can kind of dismiss for whoever his next opponent is?
I've said this time and time again. I just think the land can change very, very quickly in the heavyweight division, and you know he's in the process of rehabilitating his injury and operation and getting himself back 100% fit. Once he is back 100% fit, then that is the time to look and see and assess, okay, this is how this is looking, here's the right fight. Because like I say, things can change very, very quickly. So I just think, you know, for the minute, just got to be patient and see once he's back fully fit, then you can start to have these conversations.
So from that surgery he had in May now, wasn't it? How's that kind of procedure gone since then? Everything's gone to how it's meant to have gone?
Yeah, I mean, look, the day-to-day stuff of it, you know, I don't take care of. He's got a team of guys that look after that and take care of that, and making sure that he gets back 100% fit. And like I say, once he's there, then there'll be some news.
What do you think about Carl Froch's comments about AJ that he should retire?
I don't watch it. I don't see it. And that's nothing against Froch. It's nothing against anybody. I don't sit there watching that stuff, to be honest.
But just the comments that he should retire and that Eddie Hearn should be telling him to retire as well.
It's his opinion, huh? Entitled to that. You want me to say something,
No,
but
I'm asking your opinion about.
That's it, isn't it? Like, he's entitled to his opinion. I'm sure people had opinions on him when he was in his career and what he should do. And AJ's had this throughout his whole career of what other people think that he should do, and that's part of life, and especially when you're in the spotlight of someone like Anthony Joshua. So, part of the game.
Do you think Fury will return this year?
I don't know, and being honest, I don't think Tyson knows. I think he acts in the moment, how he feels. It seems like, to me, at the minute, he's having a good time and he's happy doing what he's doing. And again, we can all have an opinion, but it's up to them, isn't it? Like, who are we to tell them what they should or shouldn't do? Or we can all have an opinion, but it's what they want to do. It's their life. I had a conversation with somebody once, right? I'll tell you who it was. It was Ryan Pickard I was having a conversation with. And this was years ago, and I made a foolish comment of saying, what a waste about a talent. And do you know what he said back to me? Just something so simple. He went, as long as he's happy though. And I thought, oh my God, how right is that? There's me going, what a waste, what this, what that.
Who are you referring to?
I can't remember right now. I do remember. I'm not going to say, being honest. Don't want to lie to you. But yeah, I was quite young at the time, and I made a foolish comment of what a waste of talent and this, that, and the other. And that was all he said. He just went, as long as he's happy though, innit? And I thought, how true is that? There's me giving this big opinion about this fella's life. And what if he's happy with the decision he made? What?
Yeah, I mean, you could look at that in two ways, though, couldn't you? You could look at it as though if they are happy, which is the if part is the key part, because if they are happy, then that is that. But normally people that underachieve in their careers don't really, they might not come out and say it, but we know there's some fighters out there that have underachieved in their careers. So
yeah, of course, and you're 100% right, and I do know a number of people that are in that situation. So there is that as well. But I just thought I'm sitting there sharing my opinion on someone. He might be happy as Larry doing what he's doing. If I knew, he's got those regrets and that's a different conversation.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that. I thought it was, put me on my place a little bit and made me think and look at situations like that very differently. So, yeah.
do you like the Wilder fight?
Four?
With AJ?
I just think it's one of them now, isn't it? Like, do you know if that fight was made? Me being honest, I think people would criticise it now.
I disagree. I think you will get some criticism about the point in time it's happening, that it should have happened. We know it should probably have happened 4 or 5 years ago, especially where Tyson fought him 3 times. But I still think that fight's huge.
Yeah, with the whole Tyson AJ thing, I just think them two were locked up for a long time, boxing each other. But it wasn't like AJ was just sitting on the side. AJ had a lot of defences of his world title, which, stands for a lot as well at the same time. So, yeah, it's just funny how things play out. Again, this going back to the Alloys and Vidal situation. It's funny how, broadcasters, promoters, all of these things, we say it time and time again. It always does. And that's been the really big thing with the introduction of Turki Al-Sheikh as well, where a lot of these fights that have been proven hard to make, he's been able to just walk in and get them done. Which is something we're very fortunate to have, but we didn't have that, for a long time. It's only recently that we've had that, and the amount that they've been able to get done in that short space of time is obviously fantastic for boxing. So, yeah.
Okay, well, Ben Davison, thank you very much for talking to IFLTV.
Pat McCormack coming up, news coming up.
Yes, I saw you put something about Pat. Is it? Well, we know what it. I know what it is.
Oh, nah. Yeah, I haven't got the news to say anything right now, but some news coming on him soon, which we're hoping for a busy end of the year. And I think making the right moves, we could get him a couple of major titles in the next few fights and a world title shot by the end of next year is the goal. Yeah.
Yeah, I only know because I was listening to your phone conversation earlier. I wasn't listening, I was just here. Yeah, I'm in the know. Ben, thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for allowing us to speak to your fighters today. Well, I don't actually know if you allowed us. We just kind of said we were coming. So
I've got the gate, so
you've locked us in. Yeah. You're coming. Now you can't leave. Ben, thank you very much, and no doubt we'll catch up with you again soon.
No problem. Pleasure.